What's up, Upstanders? Dr. O here. Happy National Poetry Month. I'm going to share a poem with you all entitled True Poets or Lack Thereof. Now, be mindful, these are explicit lyrics in this joint. Y'all know how I normally do on my YouTube page, but I kind of go in a little bit on this one, so just be mindful of that. Particularly proud of this poem because when I was out on tour with Black Dot, I performed this piece, and he's one of my favorite MCs of all time. And he was sitting in the front row, and I dropped this joint, and he just hopped up out of his seat. So that was a very memorable moment out there in the UK. You can get this poem in my book, From the Limbs of My Poetry. And before I drop the poem, I'm doing it off the dome, doing it from memory. I haven't done it over 5 years. I'm not reading the words, so be patient with a brother. If I trip up. And then lastly, shout out to Dr. Eddie Moore. I'm rocking the Got Privilege shirt from the Privilege Institute conference where I had the privilege of speaking at recently. And I wanted to make sure I shout that out. So please hashtag Becoming Anti-Racist Conference, and please check it out when it comes to your town. It's almost approaching 30 years of doing this conference. So shout it out. All right, we good? Disclaimers off the way for the poem. This poem is just a call for poets to be activists and use their voice to help us out as a society. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm tired of watching spoken word poetry bring out the worst in us. It's like mentally and spiritually we're still riding in the back of the bus. I'm tired of watching poets perform pathetic and perverted poetry on podiums from Paris to Pasadena to Pretoria, and I'm sick of these other poets pretending to be pious and passing judgment on aggravated audience members that these poets have never seen in their lives. I'm sick of poets getting up to curse the mic with hopeless stories of hypocritical lovers and insignificant others with no evidence or explanation of having healed from their happenstance. I'm sick and tired of tired and sick poets performing pieces that sound like this with no originality. And I'm not Jay-Z, but I thank God for granting me this moment of clarity, because I'm tired of watching poets talking loud and saying nothing and covering up for their shallow words by doing backflips and made tricks with little to no poetic substance, because I see right through their inept attempt to focus on the performance and not the poetry, because I realize it's not how you say it, but what you say. I'm sick of poets who haven't mastered the art of listening to their poetic peers, only feeling that their flows merit the ears of the crowd. And while I'm on this tangent, let me just say that I'm really tired and perplexed by poets who get up to the mic intent on cursing each other, because I can go to a dozen dialectically dirty open mics and hear a dozen dirty poets still playing the dirty dozens as if they were back on the plantation, and I can't help but wonder what their poems would sound like back before the Emancipation Proclamation. These self-proclaimed field niggas would be entertaining runaway slaves in secret caves with poems entitled On the Block or Let's Make a Deal, with their partner in the background singing Whip Appeal, and folks would only snap, not the substitute for a clapper when the whip hit their back so their baby's face. But even back then I'd be coming in Nat Turner style with poems inspiring insurrection, and these poems would be entitled Off the Chain and Off the Hook, and I would try to make these poems sound so off the chain and off the hook that every slave who heard the words would want to get off the chain and off the hook. And this is all I'm asking for my fellow poets. Can we write words that are going to inspire each other, or am I asking for too much? I want poets to speak about the seriousness of staying silent in a system of societal strife. I want poets who may have experienced sexual assault to serenade us with soliloquies of survival and hope to make us all want to take back the night and the day. And I want our black poets to remind us of the dangers of discriminating against folks because they're gay. I want our poets to be the pure platform for the people, but am I asking for too much? I once looked into the eyes of a recently raped Congolese refugee, and I knew that she would do anything, including killing any one of us, for an opportunity to experience the American dream and the American nightmare. And I juxtaposed that refugee of her dreams deferred with you, non-poetic patrons seeking refuge in poetry venues, because I know that you would kill for the opportunity to communicate with crowds like a poet. But you can't. So you flock to open mic spots with half a hope that someone will speak what's on your mind, only to be sent home time after time, disappointed in the lines of the rhymes of broken spoken words. Because I know that there's a sister out there who wants to hear a brother spit a love poem without mentioning sex. And there's got to be a man out there who wants to be told that he's God's answer to a woman's distress. And there's got to be someone out there hoping to hear a homily that will give him the strength he needs to go home and inform his family that he's harboring HIV. And there's got to be a teacher out here who wants to be told that she's not a terrorist, but rather an underserved, unappreciated soldier seeking to save the soul of our nation's future. But we as poets, we give you the same downright despicable diatribes, mouthing off about our penis and vaginal size and falsifying other facts about our sex lives in irrelevant dialogues, just trying to poetically screw you with our dictation and vagina monologues. And I'm just tired of these wannabe divas and demagogues souped up in celebrations of self like they're bigger than what they are, forgetting that they're poets and not superstars. And it's quite scary because soon these poets will be rolling up to open mic bars in fur fur coats, Bentley cars, and Jaguars, while the real representatives of the word will be called alternative and neo-soul poets like India are. But even with a CEO selected title for our genre, we'll still be trying to raise the bar for folks living behind physical and spiritual bars. And we welcome those poets who are afraid to be considered bougie because they're studying for their bar. And we'll make it okay for those rappers who don't think they're poets because they only flow in 16 bars. And so I'm going to take the same poem to 16 bars and ask the same question. Is some spoken word poetry with some substance drops in the middle of an open mic spot, can it make a sound? Can it still be profound? Can a love poet influence an indecisive brother to want to go home and propose, or make a sister believe she can make a man love her before she takes off her clothes? We as poets need to rethink our flows, getting up here intent on cursing each other while the government leaves our children behind, because we forgot that it's all about the babies. But now we want to get up here and impress y'all because we read books like the Kama Sutra instead of trying to start reformations like both Martin Luther's. We're going from I have a dream to I got some cream, and it's just sad because I've seen too many hubris hampered hoits come and go in 3 minutes like one night stands after raping, sodomizing, and verbally assaulting the mic stand, leaving it feeling violated and alone and in search of companionship from compassionate poets. But am I asking for too much? Because if I am, then we're all damned. Because if this is the destiny of man, then I'm going to have to die trying to make a stand for the true poets. That's my poem. It's called True Poets or Lack Thereof, from my book, my first book, From the Limbs of My Poetry. You can get wherever you get your books online. Please let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking about Freestyle Fridays. I got more coming, not just because it's Poetry Month, but because I just love poetry and I got a lot to give and a lot to share. And if you like it, please share with your friends. And if you're first time visiting, please subscribe for more. All right, take care, y'all. Peace.